These are all of my 25 journals that I've filled up and completed, and this is my 26th journal. I started decorating the cover page, I think, on journal number 16. Let's go ahead and start opening up the journals. All right, so we have journal number 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and journal 26. So starting with journal number 16, we can go ahead and open it up. This journal I started in 2020. I thought it was gonna be like the best year ever. I'm sure a lot of us thought that too. So I was like, let me make a cover page and make my journal look really cute and pretty. It just says 2020 and then I wrote 2020, back when I was still kind of learning how to hand letter. And then for 2020, I also chose a word of the year and a theme of the year. So my word for the year was discipline, and my theme of the year was seize the day and night, and I kind of just wanted this to embody my year. Did that end up happening? I don't know. I guess I probably seized the day and night as best that I could, all things considered. Discipline probably went out the window if I remember correctly. Moving on to journal 17. So for this cover page, I did a quote instead of the year. It was still in 2020, and it says, live for the moments you can't put into words. I honestly love how this turned out. I'm pretty sure I had seen a quote like this on Pinterest, and then I changed up the colors or layout or something like that. I think it looks really, really pretty. I chose this quote because I wanted my journal and this season of my life to kind of embody this quote. Honestly, I feel like a lot of the cover pages end up doing that, and I've mentioned this in other videos before, where the rest of my journal kind of ends up fitting the theme of the cover page. I love the color variety because it has like a rainbow of colors, and if you guys know me, you know I love my rainbows and colors. I think the font variety also gives it a really nice touch. So for my 18th journal, the cover page is nothing special. It just says, not every story has to start with the perfect beginning. Honestly, in comparison to my other two, it looks really, really sad, and that's just because the season that I was in when I started this journal. I can't honestly remember the exact timeline, but I just remember when I went to start this journal, I was like, I do not have it in me to start this journal in a beautiful way. So my friend had suggested that I started it like this, which I feel like is honestly very fitting for the time, and I believe I wrote about that on the first page. I kind of really like though that this started out like this and not in a super perfect, beautiful way. Just because it's an accurate depiction of life, it's not always going to look super aesthetic and pretty. I like that my journals are able to showcase that my life is not perfect by any means. And just because a journal starts off a little rough doesn't mean the rest of my journal or the rest of that season of my life is necessarily going to stay that way. Alright, so for journal 19, I actually didn't end up finishing or making a cover page for this one. This is a bookmark that my roommate drew. She did it with colored pencils. It's of UVA, where we both went to college, or I still go there because I'm taking an extra year, but she already graduated. But it's so beautiful. It's a colored pencil drawing, and so she made copies of it and she gave me one. I liked that it kind of had a little bit of red coloring to it, like the cover of my journal, and I had been intending to tape it in and write something here or do some sort of hand lettering quote, I don't know, alongside the bookmark, but I never ended up doing that. And honestly, I feel like it would be weird for me to go back now, several journals later and several years later, to go and update the cover page, so I'll probably just leave it like that forever. Moving on to journal 20. So this is when I first started making YouTube videos on starting my journals. I think I made a video for finishing my 19th journal, but this was, I believe, the first cover page that I showed. Happy 20th journal. I honestly really like this one. I like how it alternates every single color for the different letters. Just a simple black outline, and then I used a gray, probably Tombow dual brush pen if I had to guess, and just did horizontal lines all up and down the whole page. And then as you can see, I kind of like filled in the gaps here a little bit. I also used a white pen to kind of add some shine on the letters, although I don't really think I knew what I was doing there because the white kind of seems like randomly placed on the letters, which is fine. It's whatever. I think this is really cute though. This also was in the middle of 2021, so it's really cute to see how far my handlettering has come from 2021 to now in like the middle of 2024, because I made this journal pretty much like exactly 3 years ago from when I'm filming it now. Moving on to journal number 21. I honestly love this journal, and I also love the cover page. It might be one of my favorite cover pages. Ignore this table of content that I never ended up using, but here's the cover page. I just think it's very simple and pretty. I definitely improved on my hand lettering, as you can see, and then I just used these different mild liners to do a little rainbow down here. I think also the video where I started this journal has the most views of any of my starting a journal videos. Something about having just black lettering and then some sort of colors around it is just a really fun vibe and aesthetic, in my opinion. I just think it's like really simple but really, really pretty. And then also the black letters just really kind of feels like it ties into the cover of the actual journal. I do think it could have been fun to potentially match the colors of this little rainbow thing to the colors here on the sticker that I put on the front of this journal. So that was 21. Now moving on to journal 22. Guys, I loved the cover page of this journal. It's a little chaotic at first glance, but the background is just this beautiful floral leafy drawing, and I used a very thin, I think it was a micron pen, to kind of loosely outline the different drawings. I really love that style of art. And then the quote says, "Change is inevitable, but transformation motivation is by conscious choice. And I love that quote so much. I think it's so true, first of all, but it was also just very, very fitting for everything that I had going on in my life throughout this journal. And I think this was the quote that kind of really made me realize that having a quote at the start of my journal really ends up like framing the rest of my journal. You can see I also added the white to the letters to add a little bit of a shine, but it kind of faded a lot. You can't honestly see it too well. Also, this journal has the little dates here at the top, which I never used. I don't really honestly like it very much, but I kind of just ignored it when creating this cover page. Moving on to journal 23. It's honestly kind of weird that before I even open them up, I can already remember what the cover page looked like. So this one is a quote that I chose, and it says, "There is no right time, there is just time and what you choose to do with it." I really love this quote because I feel like it's so super true, and it kind of is applicable in so many different walks of life. Just here now, I think about how so many people say they don't have time to journal, or they don't have time to do any sort of hobby or habit that they're wanting to implement in their life, and they're like, oh, I just don't have the time for it. But at the end of the day, everybody has the same 24 hours in a day, and it's simply what you choose to spend your time on. I really love the colors that I chose here. It gives me very like Dr. Seuss vibes, or almost like a travel-y color palette, and I also feel like it just goes very well with the beige color of this journal. This is also super easy to make as well. I'm pretty sure I just used different mild liners to do the letters and then just outlined it afterwards. Moving on to journal 24. Alrighty, so we've got this beautiful, beautiful cover page. It gives very similar vibes to journal 22 because you can see the flowers and the leaves are quite similar. This time though, instead of writing the quote on top of that, I think I wrote the quote first and then I did the flowers and stuff all around it. I remember this was quite a disaster when I first started making this cover page, just because I realized how thin the pages were in this journal, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's bleeding through a lot. What do I do? As you can see here, I didn't end up writing on that page just because it bled through so much. But I really love the quote, "She created a life she loved." I also did the same little white shiny things on the letters. I can't remember the exact quote and inspiration picture that I saw. I know I included it in the video where I created this cover page, but I want to say the original quote that I saw was, "She designed a life she loved," and I liked the word created more than designed, just because created feels like it's more actionable than designing. Designing just feels like it's planning in the works, whereas created feels like it's actively creating and doing something and making a life that you love. And like I've said with my other journals, I really feel like this quote ended up encapsulating my life throughout this journal. So for journal 25, I went back to not using quotes, and it just says, "Hello, 25th journal." Honestly, I feel like this is so fun. It's different from what I've done in the past. I really like the dots and polka dots all around it. It's just a very fun pop of color. It almost looks like an explosion of polka dots around it, kind of like confetti to celebrate the 25th journal, since that's a big milestone. I didn't want to get rid of the quotes completely though, so you can see here on the next page I included the quote that says, "What you focus on expands. Be grateful for where you are while working for what you want." And I love that quote. I just feel like it's a really good one. For the polka dots, I'm pretty sure I used Pentel sign brush pens. I just think the color variety is so fun and vibrant. And then last but not least, we have journal number 26. So you guys know that this is my current journal, and this is how I started it. It says, "Hello 26th journal," and I used Mr. Pen highlighters for the background of it. I love how pastel the highlighters are. I feel like it doesn't take away from the Hello 26th journal at all because the highlighters are so light, so it's still very easily legible. The color palette that I used also just fits very well and ties in the cover very nicely. I also just feel like these colors are honestly like my favorite colors nowadays. And then for the quote on the following page, I included a Bible verse, and then I drew this little flower vine around it. I love how it turned out. I just think it's so pretty and so beautiful. Overall, I feel like this journal cover page can just really show you that having something simple can go a long way and look really, really pretty. So a quick recap, we have journal 16, journal 17, journal 18, journal 19, journal 20, journal 21, journal 22, journal 23, journal 24, journal 25, and journal 26. Comment down below which journal cover was your favorite, and also send me a picture of any of your cover pages if you've made them for your journals. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.